Today we're watching the 2014 film called Love, Rosie. The film begins at a party. Rosie is going to get hitched. She is disturbed, however claims to be, as she giving a discourse. We are returned to 12 years and we are acquainted with Rosie's dearest companion Alex. They have been close since adolescence, so one night at a club Rosie becomes inebriated and things get heartfelt among her and Alex. The following morning she would rather not discuss what occurred and advises Alex to forget about it all. He appears to be frustrated about this, yet doesn't contend. Alex and Rosie are at an oceanside party and they examine who they'd go to prom with. Alex goes with Bethany, a young lady he has eyes for, and Rosie goes with Greg, the fittest kid in school in their PC class. Alex and Rosie bother each other in a discussion channel. Alex then, at that point, tells Rosie he laid down with Bethany. This maddened Rosie and makes her swear she gets shipped off the primary's office, yet Alex acts the hero at prom. Rosie continued to take a gander at Alex. She appears to be desirous while watching Alex hit the dance floor with Bethany. Does she care deeply about Alex too? Later she gets along with Greg, yet the experience ends up being short and disheartening. It likewise leaves her wrecked. She calls the main individual she believes. Alex drives Rosie to the emergency clinic where a specialist helps her out. Rosie drives back home with Alex and they have a second in the vehicle. Later on, Rosie's folks totally could do without the possibility of Rosie going to America to proceed with her life there. In no time later, Rosie follows her dad to his working environment and attempts to persuade him to permit her to go to America. He is a caring individual and consequently permits her to go. Rosie embraces her dad and brings the transport back home. Later, Rosie gets acknowledged into Boston's college. She runs towards Alex's home. His sister Claire opens the entryway. She advises her to sit and hang tight for Alex, as he was with Bethany higher up. Rosie almost vomits and goes out without seeing Alex. Sometime thereafter, Rosie goes to a drugstore and asks her companion Ruby for certain prescriptions. Ruby gives her a pregnancy test which she utilizes on the spot. She obtains a good outcome and quickly contacts Alex. She messages him needing to talk, yet Alex tells her that he's going out with Bethany's folks. Rosie is disheartened and wishes him well. Later on, when she meets with Alex, shows her his letter of acknowledgement into Harvard College. Rosie acts a bit strange about things and Alex asks her for what good reason. She's distraught. In any event, when they're at last acknowledged into their particular school, Rosie lets him know she must accomplish something prior to leaving. Alex says he will remain behind for her, yet she encourages him to leave. At the air terminal, Alex gives her a gift and she embraces him firmly. She essentially watches her adoration as he strolls towards his flight. Rosie returns to the drugstore to examine with Ruby. Rosie chooses not to cut short the child. She some way or another persuaded her family as well, yet Rosie misleads Alex about her being in Boston while as yet being at home. Rosie is currently vigorously pregnant and her whole family is there to help her over the child. One night Rosie's water breaks and everybody panics. Rosie in the long run brings forth a child. Young lady, she conveys her little beloved newborn and strokes her. She names the young lady Katie. The whole family is attempting to assist Rosie with dealing with Katie as Rosie learns the do's and don'ts of taking care of her child. Alex stays with Rosie, welcomes him inside to talk, and Alex tells her he is familiar with the child. Alex and Rosie get to the ocean side and talk for a brief period. Later, Alex leaves and goes to a bar. He meets with Phil, who acquaints Alex with his sister Sally. Time elapses by and Alex gets a condo being used. Katie growing up quick and Rosie finds a new line of work as a lodging cleaner. Back in Alex's home, he and Bethany squabble about some hair being in their restroom. One day Rosie gets a message from Alex telling her he misses her and she ought to stop by one day. Rosie acknowledges and gets a pass to visit Alex being used. When in Us, the two of them host a gathering and have parcels fun. Later they go to a recreation area and Rosie attempts to kiss Alex, yet they don't. Next morning, Rosie enemies to Alex, yet Alex is home and sees Sally there and Rosie figures out that Sally was pregnant with Alex. She gets frustrated yet compliments them, all things considered, and defy Alex for not educating her. Later on, Alex, Sally and Rosie go to a craftsmanship exhibition, yet Sally doesn't let Alex close to Rosie. Burnt out on all the measure, Rosie leaves and Alex follows her. The two quarrel over his sweetheart being pregnant and Rosie attempts to denounce Alex's way of life. Rosie leaves, leaving Alex there. Rosie gets back home one day at her specific employment. Greg visits her. He is sorry and needs to be along with Rosie and Katie. We see them three, Greg, Rosie and Katie, living it up. Alex gets a solicitation to Rosie and Greg's wedding. She and Greg get hitched and set up their home. One day Rosie gets her girl with a kid setting up camp in her room. She grins and server Attempts to call up Alex to tell something similar, yet Sally gets the telephone. Rather, she lets Rosie know that she and Alex have separated, yet unexpectedly her water breaks and Rosie later figures out that Alex wasn't the dad of the child 5 years after the fact. Katie is 10-year-old and with a kid in her room when Rosie strolls, and she is pursued by her later. Rosie is back working. She's cleaning the floor when Bethany strolls in there. She boasts about her works and by plans. Rosie calls her mom one day and figures out her father was no more at the burial ground. She sees Alex, who drops by to reassure her. He embraces her firmly. Greg comes to remove Rosie with him. Later on, Alex composes Rosie a letter. The letter shows up at Rosie's home, yet is gotten by Greg and conceals it from Rosie. Peruses the last letter her father sent her before he kicked the bucket. Rosie peruses the letter with tears in her eyes. Alex kept sending her messages inquiring as to whether she was content with her family and in her life. The following day, Rosie is conversing with Ruby and got a call with some frustrating news. Around evening time, Rosie drives with Ruby to a party. She gets Greg with one more woman and smacks him upside the head. She then, at that point, gets back and tosses things around and afterward finds the letter Alex shipped off her book. Greg hit. She peruses the letter and promptly video calls Alex, yet figures out that Bethany and Alex were getting hitched in a little while at midday. Ruby persuades Rosie into battling for her adoration. Rosie packs her things and goes to the air terminal. Rosie gets to Boston and take a van they leased and drive to the congregation where Alex was getting wedding, yet she sees Alex emerge from the wedding lobby with Bethany. Sometime thereafter, Rosie gives an extremely profound toast. She then admits her adoration for Alex, yet is a companion since Rosie sees Alex hit the dance floor with Bethany and hangs far away. Toby and Katie dance together as well, and things get cozy as Toby continues to kiss her. Katie pushes him off and takes off. Alex sees this and hurries to see Katie. Alex and Rosie follow Katie to converse with her. They talk Katie into not misstepping the same way they made after an opportunity to buy shows up and finds Katie with her folks. He attempts to apologize for the demonstration, yet Katie kisses him. Rather, Alex then discusses whenever they first kissed, yet never referenced it since she disregarded it. Rosie closes things and returns to Britain. She revamps her dad's home, changing it into an inn. Alex visits into her and tells her he's finished things with Bethany. They gaze at one another's eyes, lastly kiss. The end. Thank you for watching.